Hey, Kingdom, I got a question for you. All of you who watch the Chiefs Report, how often do you watch the show? Do you watch it daily? Do you watch all of our videos? If so, type D for daily. If you watch it weekly, maybe a couple videos a week or once per week, somewhere in that range, type W for weekly. Maybe it's your first time. If it is, type 1 for your first time ever stumbling on to the channel. And regardless of how often you watch it, turn on that notification bell after you subscribe. That way you never miss a video here on the Chiefs Report. My name's Harrison Graham, and you are watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. On today's show, more Chiefs rumors and buzz around a potential Chris Jones contract extension, as ESPN Jeremy Fowler hopped on SportsCenter today and said that Jones could sign a multi-year deal with Kansas City, multi-year extension, because obviously he is under contract for 2023. Now, you look at Chris Jones last year, I mean, coming off arguably the best season of his career, had 44 tackles, 15.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, 29 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles. I thought he really had a nice season as a run defender as well, an area that was lacking earlier in his career, but he's become at least adequate in. Extending Chris Jones is a no-brainer, and we're going to explore why during today's show, plus look at a contract extension projection coming up later as well. But his production is just undeniable, and when you can find those interior rushers that can produce like this, you just got to keep them around because you can rattle quarterbacks very, very easily. Now, you look at the highest paid interior defensive lineman by year, Chris Jones is now 8th. So obviously he's due for a pay raise because for me, he's arguably the best interior defensive lineman. Sure, Aaron Donald has more pedigree, but I thought last year Jones was actually the better player. And you've seen guys get paid this offseason, right? Jeffrey Simmons, new deal. Deron Payne, Dexter Lawrence getting new contracts as well. Javon Hargrave got $21 million per year in free agency. He's a good player, but Jones is better. So there's no doubt Chris Jones is in line to get a new contract. The question will just end up being if they should do it, and B, how much will it cost? Now, I'll ask you that first part of that question. Should the Chiefs extend Chris Jones? Type Y for yes or type N for no. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. Y for yes, N for no. If you get hit with that YouTube bad break, scroll on down and reply to the pinned comment. Some reasons to extend the Chiefs' defensive tackle. I think first and foremost, it helps you right now. It lowers his 2023 salary cap hit. He's slated to count $28.3 million against the cap this year. Look, that's manageable. You can play. He can play under that this year, and it's not completely crippling, but it's a lot, right? I mean, if you can lower that number, and if for a player you want to keep around anyway, it seems like a no-brainer to lower that cap hit. Chiefs' current cap space dead last in the NFL with $652,000. Even if they don't want to sign another free agent or two, you need more money than that once you enter the season to have flexibility, because injuries pop up, and there will be transactions on this roster during the season, and $652,000 isn't enough to cover that. You at least want to get to $3, $4, $5 million. So I think regardless, some money is going to get moved around, and an easy way to do that is to extend Chris Jones. Number two, it does free up money to sign others in free agency if you want to do that. Obviously, the Chiefs have been connected to a couple of big-name free agents. First and foremost, DeAndre Hopkins. If they want to make a move for D-Hop, you're going to have to clear cap space. We've talked about it. He signed with Clutch Sports. I don't think he's going to take a discount. Look, it may not be $25 million a year or something like that, but it's not going to be dirt cheap. Like, you're going to have to give him real money to make this work. Now, you could structure it where his cap hit this year isn't that much, but again, it's still going to be more than $650,000. So you're going to have to clear at least some cap space up if you want to make a move for him. Same with Frank Clark. He might be on the cheaper end, but it's still going to be beyond the vet minimum, I would think, to bring him back. Look, maybe you convince him to come back for the vet min. I don't know, but that would surprise me. But obviously, there's been some chatter of bringing him back. And again, you need a little bit more cap space if you do want to bring back Frank Clark. Now, if you could only sign one of these guys, who would you pick? Type DH for DeAndre Hopkins. Type FC for Frank Clark. I would probably lean D-Hop because that gives you that true number one wide receiver on this depth chart. But if you extend Chris Jones and move money around properly, you could get both back. That's still a possibility. DH for Hop or FC for Frank Clark. And then first and foremost, and most importantly, it keeps an elite player around, a guy that wants to be here and a guy you should want to be here. I mean, this is a player that is just coming off the best year of his career. Like, he's not flatlining. He's not getting worse. He's getting better still, guys. Like, I get it. He'll be 29 this year. That's not young, but you can sign him to a 2, 3, 4-year extension and feel good about the production you're going to get out of those years. This is not a guy who is flatlining. He's not slowing down. Like, I don't know if he'll have 15.5 sacks again next year, but I expect it to be double digits. I expect a lot of pressures, a lot of quarterback hits, a lot of production, a guy that teams are going to double team a lot to free up other rushers. So this is a player you should want to keep. The production, he's a leader. He likes being here. He loves being here. He said, I want to be a Chief for life. He's on record saying that. So if he wants to be here and if he plays at the level he does, there's really no downside to signing him to an extension. Now, join the Noti gang. Told you guys off the top, regardless of how often you watch, turn on your notifications. Now, the first step of doing that is you actually have to be a subscriber, which is free, so hit the sub button. Then click that bell icon, and then once you do click the bell icon, it's going to prompt you, and the default will be personalized. That'll be selected, but above that, select all. Click that. What that does is every single video, that we publish will get notified to your phone. Like, it'll send you a hey, the Chiefs Report just published a video. So that way you can click and watch right away. And most importantly, never miss a video here on the channel. Join the Noti gang. It's an exclusive club. Okay, so now what does a Jones contract projection look like? Like, what would we see in terms of figures for what Chris Jones could get on an extension? Well, let's look at his last extension in 2020. He got 4 years and $80 million, $20 million per year, $60 guaranteed, which is 3/4 of the contract. And at the time, I thought that was a good deal. I remember thinking like 5 for 100, 5 for 105, 4 for 80 is right in line for that in terms of per year. And I think taking 4 instead of 5 was actually a smart deal because now he's hitting the open market at a relatively young age still. And again, just to revisit the highest paid interior defensive lineman, if I'm Chris Jones, like, I'm probably going to be realistic and say, okay, I'm not going to top Aaron Donald, even if I think I'm better right now. Like, if I want to keep winning titles here, I'm not getting $32 million per year. But number 2 highest paid defensive tackle, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, and quite frankly, he should be that at the end of the day. He will get a pay raise from $20 million per year. There is simply no doubt about that. Now, is it closer to Donald or is it closer to Jeffrey Simmons? I think it'll probably be closer to Jeffrey Simmons and what he and the recent guys got. So here's my extension. Remember, he's got 1 year left this year, so this would add 3 more years. So it would be essentially a 4-year contract starting with this year. The extension would be for 3 years, $72 million, 55 guaranteed, and $24 million per year. I think that's a pretty good deal. He gets, almost 80% guaranteed, which would be a jump from his last guarantees. He gets 24 per year, which would make him the second highest paid defensive tackle on an annual basis. And he's here for another 4 years. And look, at the end of this next deal, he'll be 32, 33. He could get another semi-decent contract. Probably not this big, but it allows him to cash in at maybe one more time. Would you make Chris Jones the second highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL? I absolutely would. He's just a game wrecker. Imagine this front without him. Like, you've got some nice role players, but he makes it go. There's simply no doubt. Type 1 for yes, you want to keep him around and you'll pay him that money. Type 2 for no, you don't think it's worth it. I think he is. I'm paying Chris Jones. Hopefully the Chiefs get it done before training camp.